The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the forest as Amina approached the stream, her heart heavy with the weight of her stepmother's scorn. Each step was a reminder of the burdens she had to bear, shoveling the coals of the fire, washing the dishes until her hands were raw, and tending to the whims of her stepmother, who feasted while Amina scarcely tasted her own cooking. Yet today felt different. It was as though the stream itself shimmered with the promise of something greater, something just beyond her grasp. As she reached the water's edge, she knelt, cupping her hands to gather the cool liquid, allowing it to refresh her weary spirit as she splashed it onto her face, feeling the weight of her troubles dissolve temporarily. It was there, in that sacred moment between heaven and earth, that she tasted a fleeting sweetness, a forgotten joy. She closed her eyes, letting the gentle rush of the stream wash over her ears, and for a heartbeat, she imagined a life unburdened by the shackles of expectation. The memory of her mother's laughter echoed softly in her mind, a reminder of times when love flowed freely, unrestrained by anger and bitterness. A tear escaped down her cheek, a solitary droplet that mingled with the water, as if to remind the world that she was still capable of feeling. But the peacefulness was shattered by the sound of splashing footsteps. Startled, Amina turned, her heart racing as she peered into the thicket. Emerging from the trees was a figure, tall and regal, with an air of confidence that made the very air thrum with anticipation. It was Prince Kwame, known throughout the realm for his gentle spirit and fierce courage. His striking features, illuminated by the soft sunset glow, made Amina catch her breath. The prince paused, seemingly entranced by the sight of her, his eyes searching and curious, as if he could see the depth of her soul. "Amina," he called, his voice rich and warm like the sound of a summer breeze. The way he spoke her name made her heart flutter unexpectedly, igniting a spark of hope that danced within her. "What brings you to this enchanted place?" His gaze was soft, inviting her into a world where she did not have to hide and where her dreams might be within reach. For a moment, time stood still. The cares of her life receded like the tide, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Amina felt seen. Not just as a girl burdened with labor, but as a being with dreams, desires, and the simple wish to be cherished. "I come here to find peace," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper, hesitant, yet yearning. "The world outside here is filled with darkness, but the stream brings me light, if only for a little while." Prince Kwame moved closer, kneeling beside her with a grace that made the surrounding flora seem to flourish even more vibrantly. "May I join you in this refuge?" he asked, a smile warming his features. Amina nodded, the bell of destiny ringing softly in her ears. As he settled beside her, she felt an undeniable connection forming amid the shimmering water and verdant growth. Perhaps, just perhaps, fate had led her to this very moment, a glimpse of hope shining radiantly amidst her desolate life. Amina's heart raced as she gazed into the eyes of the young prince standing before her. The world around them faded into an ethereal haze, leaving only the two of them and the gentle rustle of leaves whispering secrets above. Kamari, with his dark curls framed against the dappled sunlight, looked as if he had stepped from the very pages of a storybook. His garments, woven with intricate patterns, glimmered as if adorned with flecks of starlight, casting an air of nobility that took Amina by surprise. But what struck her most was not the prince's attire. It was the gentleness that radiated from him, a warmth that promised understanding and shared dreams. "Your voice," Kamari began, his voice low and melodic, breaking the serene silence. "It's unlike anything I've ever heard." Amina felt a warmth blossom within her, a mixture of shyness and delight woven into her spirit. She had always believed that music was a bridge to the soul, a method by which she could express herself freely. But to have someone, especially a prince, recognize the beauty in her song was a moment she hadn't dared to dream would arrive. "Thank you," she replied, her cheeks tinged with a rose hue. "I often sing to the river. It listens to me in ways I could never explain." Kamari took a small step closer, an intrigued smile painting his lips. "And now I understand why," he said, the sincerity in his eyes igniting a deeper curiosity in Amina. They stood there for what felt like an eternity, a gentle breeze playing with the unruly strands of Amina's hair, while the prince studied her with an intensity that made her heart flutter. The air was charged, as if woven with the threads of fate itself, and Amina found herself unconsciously leaning toward him, drawn to the magnetic pull of connection between them. "What brings you to these woods?" Amina asked, breaking the spell before it could weave too deep. Kamari chuckled softly, a sound that resonated in the tranquil woods. "Curiosity, I suppose," he confessed. "I often find solace in nature, away from the expectations of the palace. There's something liberating about wandering through the trees, feeling like just another soul breathing the same air." Amina nodded in understanding, her heart swelling with an unspoken kinship. "There's a magic here," she said, gesturing to the shimmering water and rustling trees around them. "A magic that fills the heart with dreams and the courage to chase them." Kamari's gaze sharpened, as if he were trying to decipher the depths of her soul. "And what dreams do you chase?" he inquired, his voice growing softer, more personal. Amina hesitated, for the dreams she held were wrapped tightly within her heart, fragile and tender, but she sensed an invitation to share something intimate. "My dream is to bring light to the shadows," she whispered, her voice barely reaching his ears. "To remind people of the beauty and simplicity, to unearth joy in everyday life." Something flickered in his eyes, a spark of recognition, as if her words resonated deeply within him. They shared a moment, a slice of time where the air thickened with promise and the possibility of dreams intertwining in unexpected ways. In that forest glade, amidst the rustling leaves and murmuring stream, two worlds began to merge, daring to explore the magic that had unexpectedly unfolded. Kamari stood at the edge of the stream, his heart racing with anticipation. The gentle gurgle of water mirrored his eager thoughts, each ripple reflecting the bright colors of the day, colors that seemed more vivid in Amina's presence. He smiled inwardly, recalling how laughter had become an enchanting melody that danced above the water, weaving their stories together, like delicate threads in a rich tapestry. Amina appeared, her silhouette emerging from the dappled shade of willow branches. The sunlight caught in her hair, turning it into a cascade of gold, and for a moment, the burdens of their worlds faded away like mist under the morning sun. She greeted him with a mischievous grin, her eyes sparkling with the kind of joy that made even the darkest corners of his heart feel light. The stream had become a secret haven, and they were the guardians of this hidden realm, where time unraveled and worries melted like frost in spring. As they settled on the mossy bank, Kamari listened intently as Amina recounted stories of her childhood, tales of climbing trees, sneaking away to wander the fields, and the solace she found in nature amid her struggles at home. Every word painted images in his mind, vibrant and alive, making her resilience blossom like the wildflowers around them. He shared experiences from the castle, the grandeur that felt like a gilded cage, the clamor of expectations that echoed in the stone halls. A brief moment of silence lingered as their eyes met, both understanding the weight of each other's realities without the need for further explanation. "I often feel so trapped," Amina confessed softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "But when I'm here with you, it's like I can breathe again." The sincerity in her eyes pierced through Kamari's reserved heart, awakening emotions he dared not acknowledge. He took her hand. In his, a gentle gesture filled with unspoken promises. It was a connection that transcended the barriers of their worlds, a mingling of two souls yearning to break free from the chains that bound them. Days turned into nights as they continued to meet, their conversations blossoming into something deeper. They spoke of dreams and aspirations, of the hopes that shimmered just out of reach. Amina confided her desire to escape the weight of her stepmother's oppression and chase the horizon of new possibilities, while Kamari often found himself fantasizing about a life not bound by duty, a life where he could roam freely, a life colored by choices of his own making. Yet, amid their burgeoning affection, a persistent unease lingered at the back of Kamari's mind. The castle awaited him, with its cold walls and demanding responsibilities. He often caught himself gazing into the depths of the stream, where the water twisted and turned, a reminder of the unpredictable currents of life that could sweep them away at any moment. It was a haunting truth that their worlds could never truly intertwine, for every moment spent in Amina's company only served to emphasize the chasm that lay between them. Still, in the face of uncertainty, their laughter rang out, a defiant echo against the looming shadows. Within that sacred space by the stream, they cultivated a connection that thrived, a fragile yet fierce bloom amidst the thorny brambles of reality, each moment together reminding them both that love, however challenging, had the power to transform their lives. The air was thick with tension as Amina trudged towards the stream, the weight of her stepmother's decree heavy on her heart. Each step felt like a betrayal of the secret joys she had found with Kamari, a reality that clashed painfully with her stepmother's insatiable demands. The path she followed was familiar, winding through the thickets that could almost mask her dread. But today, the chatter of birds felt oddly accusatory, their melodies taunting her, underscoring the rift between her burgeoning love and the cold grip of her reality. As she approached the stream, the evening light danced on the surface, casting glimmers that seemed to mock her desolation. Amina sank to her knees beside the water, her hands trembling slightly as they reached for the vessel she had brought to collect the precious liquid. The stream, once a sanctuary, now felt like a prison. It was here, in the gurgling whispers of the water, that she had shared laughter and dreams with Kamari, not long ago, in carefree abandon. But now, with every droplet that splashed against the stone, she felt the pang of solitude clawing at her chest. A reminder that her stepmother's watchful eyes could reach into even the most hidden corners of her heart. Unbeknownst to Amina, her stepmother stood watch from a distance, her silhouette hidden among the trees, her eyes gleaming with malice. This was not merely an act of sending her stepdaughter to fetch water. It was a calculated move that aimed to undermine Amina's spirit. The stepmother knew too well that isolation could warp a soul, spirits could erode with neglect, and she was determined to reclaim her grip on Amina's heart. As the sun dipped lower, the shadows lengthening ominously, Amina scooped water with quiet resignation, her thoughts swirling like the eddies in the stream. She longed to see Kamari's face, to feel the warmth of his words enveloping her in a cocoon of safety. Yet the fear of her stepmother's wrath loomed larger than her dreams. Would she ever be free to cherish what blossomed between them? The uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. Meanwhile, Kamari wandered through the forest beneath the canopy of twilight, an ever-deepening sense of urgency fueling his pace. He felt the divide growing, the invisible tether that connected him to Amina stretching perilously thin. It wasn't just Amina's laughter he missed, it was the unspoken bond they had, forged, one that seemed more fragile day by day. Concealing a deep-rooted concern for her well-being, he ruminated on the words she had shared, the fleeting moments that now felt tethered to a precarious cliff. Determined not to let fear dictate the course of their fate, Kamari resolved to act decisively. He would not allow Amina's stepmother to shatter the love that had taken root within them. With a heart fierce and resolute, he set forth, seeking not only Amina but also a way to reclaim their connection. The forest around him felt alive, as if echoing the whispered promises of their shared dreams, urging him onward to confront whatever challenges lay ahead. The air by the stream was thick with tension as Kamari knelt beside Amina, their shadows dancing across the silver-hued surface of the water, intertwined like their fates. He could see the moonlight catching the edges of her delicate features, illuminating the worry lines that had grown deeper over the past weeks. Her breath came in soft, tremulous waves, mirroring the crests of the water as it lapped gently at the rocky shore. "What if they find us?" Amina whispered, her voice as fragile as the gossamer wings of a moth, terrified of the flame that drew her in. Her fingers played nervously with a long strand of hair, twisting it around and around, a gesture she often employed when lost in thought. Kamari reached out, taking her hand into his, feeling the coolness of her skin against his own warm palm. "They won't," he replied, trying to infuse his voice with courage that he wasn't sure he possessed. "Tonight, the world is ours, just for a moment. We can't let fear dictate our lives any longer." His heart swelled with an unmistakable urgency as he spoke, the combined weight of their dreams acting as armor against the impending darkness. With a deep breath, Amina finally met his gaze, and a flicker of hope ignited behind her stormy eyes. "But how? What about our families? They'll never understand." The mention of their families wrapped around them like a leaden cloak, stifling their aspirations. Kamari bit his lower lip, searching for the right words. Love was a powerful force that they had come to comprehend, but of equally vital importance was the sacrifice that accompanied it. "Love is the truest kind of freedom," he asserted, drawing strength from the certainty of his convictions. "We can carve our own path. We've got to believe that our love is worth fighting for. I'd rather face the unknown with you than live out my days shackled by fear." The sincerity of his declaration hung in the air, palpable and electrifying, as Amina around them glanced nervously into the depths of the night. The stream murmured nearby, as if urging them onward, its echo a reminder that time was fleeting, and their moment to decide was slipping away. Kamari felt adrenaline coursing through his veins, a dizzying blend of excitement and trepidation. He began sketching out a plan in hushed tones, fueled by a mix of youthful bravado and desperation. "Let's meet at dawn, just as the sun peaks above the horizon. We'll pack the essentials and find a way through the forest of whispers. No one will suspect us if we leave before the sun rises." Their eyes locked. A profound understanding passed between them. It was a pact forged in the crucible of a moment, fraught with peril and promise, where every heartbeat brought them closer to liberation. Amina smiled then, a shade of a glow returning. And in that instant, Kamari felt the chains of doubt shatter into a million pieces. They would take their love and chase after the life they longed for, weaving their own tapestry of existence amid the chaos that threatened to ensnare them. Together, they would rise, their spirits entwined against whatever obstacles dared to stand in their way. The path stretched before Amina and Kamari, winding like a ribbon through the heart of a vast wilderness, the enchanting whispers of nature wrapping around them as they walked side by side. The air was fresh, infused with the rich scent of pine and earth, invigorating their spirits and reminding them just how precious their journey was. Each step forward was a vow to their future, a pledge that the shadows of their past would never define them. As they traversed the dense forests, they encountered a symphony of life. Birds chirped in cheerful harmony, while rustles in the underbrush hinted at the playful antics of unseen creatures. Amina smiled, her laughter ringing out like music as a curious squirrel peered down at them from a branch above. Kamari squeezed her hand, the warmth of his touch sparking joy in her heart, fortifying the resolve they had together. In that moment, the freedom they sought felt tangible, a radiant light guiding their way. Days turned into weeks, and the landscapes shifted as they journeyed, each new horizon igniting a sense of wonder. They found themselves scaling rocky cliffs that towered like giants, their hearts pounding with both exhilaration and fear. Each challenge became not a hurdle but a shared adventure, where they encouraged each other to push beyond their limits. One evening, as they sat on a ledge overlooking a breathtaking sunset, the sky ablaze in hues of orange and violet, Kamari recounted tales of the dreams they had once whispered to each other under the starlit night. "Do you remember?" he asked softly. "That night when we dared to imagine a life without fear?" Amina nodded, her gaze locked on his, the embers of nostalgia flickering alive within them. "We dared to dream of a world where love reigned," she admitted, her voice steady and serene. It was in these moments, free from the weight of their past, they discovered their truths. Strength arose within them not from the absence of fear, but from their courage to embrace it. Along the way, they crossed paths with kindred spirits, souls who sensed their fire and joined the dance of rebellion. Word of their journey spread, like wildfire, igniting hearts in nearby villages, where dreams often suffocated under the weight of conformity. Amina and Kamari became unwitting beacons of hope, galvanizing others to shed the shackles imposed by society and embark on their own quests for love and liberation. In their wake, laughter flourished, and a newfound sense of belonging blossomed among strangers who now found solace in unity. They forged alliances, building a tapestry of dreams and desires that transcended borders and expectations. The stepmother's grip on their lives was loosening, replaced by visions of what could be. The more Amina and Kamari traveled, the more their love illuminated pathways for others, proving that the pursuit of happiness was not merely an individual endeavor, but rather a shared journey, binding souls together in a tapestry of resilience. With each new dawn, they grew bolder, reveling in the thrill of the unknown, their hearts racing forward into the vast expanse of possibility. They were no longer merely escaping the chains of their origins. They were charting a course toward the futures they dared to paint with strokes of love, freedom, and infinite potential.